This will be a single, cohesive story without section headings, focusing on the dark, controlled revenge narrative requested. The crystal chandelier above the mahogany table was $1 million of blinding white light. It reflected off the polished glasses, the silver cutlery, and the CEO's smug, satisfied face. It was a celebration. My success, my promotion, or so they thought. My phone, resting face down beside my water glass, a deliberate choice to appear present, vibrated. Not a text, not a call. A ghost touch. A specialized encrypted ping. I didn't move, didn't twitch. I was discussing the quarterly report with legal, my voice a steady, low current. Under the table, my fingers found the phone. Unlocked. The message was from an unknown, untraceable number. Leave, now. Don't tell anyone. No context, no signature, just a clean, cold command. My mind didn't panic. It started charting. Who else knew? Who would care enough to warn me? And, more importantly, who was this designed to protect? I looked at Robert, the CEO, who was now regaling the board with a story about loyalty. His smile was too wide, his eyes too sharp. The same sharp eyes that, 3 years ago, I had foolishly trusted when he told me my predecessor's firing was unfortunate but necessary. I waited for the moment his gaze shifted to the CFO. "Excuse me," I said, my tone flat, a slight gesture to the ladies' room, a quick call. I left the room, the scent of expensive food and cheap cologne fading behind me. I didn't walk fast. I glided. Calmly. Clinically. Robert had offered me the senior partner role contingent on a single binding clause. I had to sign an aggressive, airtight whistleblower clause that essentially guaranteed I would be legally crucified if I ever spoke out against the firm's practices. I signed it. But before the ink dried, I made a copy, then emailed the original PDF to 3 untraceable dead drop servers. The legal copy he possessed was, subtly, flawlessly, compromised. The clause was binding, but only against me. It was now a trigger for a systemic automated legal review if activated by my specific departure under duress. That was 6 weeks ago. Since then, Robert's quiet off-the-books mergers and dubious shell accounts had been feeding themselves piece by calculated piece into an offshore escrow account I controlled. It wasn't a leak. It was a slow, controlled siphon. I walked down the emergency stairwell, the heavy door thudding shut behind me. 10 minutes passed. Then the high-pitched shriek started. The fire alarm. Not a drill. The stuttering, violent sound of a full federal-level security lockdown. I heard the frantic shouts from above, the sound of glass breaking. I was already 3 flights down, walking toward the employee exit onto the shadowed street. A minute later, the stairwell door flew open. Robert's enraged bellow echoed down the shaft. "Who triggered this?" I stopped on the landing, just out of sight. I listened. The measured, clinical voice of the head of legal answered, cutting through the chaos like a scalpel. The system. She triggered the whistleblower clause you made her sign, Robert. It automatically initiates a federal probe upon her unscheduled, sudden departure from the premises under perceived threat. A profound, sickening silence followed. The sound of Robert's life collapsing. I continued down the stairs. I had no pity, only the satisfying chill of a perfectly executed sequence. He thought he had me cornered, legally bound, and silenced. He thought his control was absolute. He failed to consider that the finest traps are built by those who are meant to be the first victim. I reached the bottom floor, adjusted my jacket, and stepped out into the cold, clean night air. The message sender? Irrelevant. A random piece of the machine doing its job. I walked away, untouchable, victorious. Robert would spend the next decade fighting federal prosecutors. I was already gone, my accounts clean, my reputation spotless, and a decade's worth of his off-the-books wealth funding my new life. He gave me the rope. I made the noose.